Dragged, slammed, and humiliated at Revolt Summit. I sued and won. I was at the Revolt Summit in Atlanta in October of 2022, Revolt Media's annual conference where they bring together influencers, artists, and thought leaders for panels, networking, and entertainment. It's supposed to be a space for creativity, culture, and community. I wasn't just attending, I was working. I was there as a videographer for my brand, Uncomfortable Truth Lifestyle. My job was to capture content, document the panels, and tell the story of the event. During one panel, the last panel, the panel called Cancel Culture, and one of the main reasons why I stayed all day was to hear this panel due to my brand, Uncomfortable Truth Lifestyle. I was sitting in the second row, the same seat I've been in all day. An AT&T rep came over and said the seats were reserved. I explained I had a media pass and I'd been in that seat the whole time. Security came over and said I could stay unless AT&T needed the seats. And minutes later, the same guard violently dragged me out of my chair. I was slammed into metal near the stage, injured my back, and in the middle of it, he called me a dyke and a nigger. I asked for the security guard's name, but the head of security refused. They tried to offer me an all-access pass for the next day, as if that would make it right. I declined and left. That was back in 2022, and the trauma and injuries from that day have stayed with me. Revolt promotes the summit as a place for empowerment for Black culture and progress. But instead, I was assaulted, disrespected, and dehumanized at their event, and then they tried to walk away from responsibility. The case was then set for a bench trial before a judge on July 18, 2025, to determine damages the money owed. I won a judgment in Fulton County State Court against JP Executive Staffing, the security company that assaulted me. They didn't even show up to court, and the judge awarded me in damages, including medical bills, pain and suffering, and punitive damages because of the racial slurs used during the assault. Security companies like JP Executive Staffing are required to carry liability insurance. Since they lost by default, I can go directly after their insurance company to collect this judgment. That's how I get paid. Revolt Media and TV got dismissed with prejudice, which means I can't refile against them right now. But Georgia law gives me a path. If I discover they misrepresented their role in security or new evidence shows they controlled the event differently, I can file a Rule 60 motion to reopen the case. This isn't about me, it's about accountability. Companies can't hide behind staffing agencies and pretend they're not responsible when things go wrong at their events. This judgment proves standing your ground works. And I'm coming for every dollar they owe me, whether it's from the security company, their insurance, or through the courts. I have a judgment against JPES. Now, JPES has liability insurance through Kinsale, and the policy limit is above what my judgment is, more than enough to cover my judgment. My attorney has already sent a demand letter to Kinsale and the underwriters, officially notifying them that the judgment exists and payment is due. Under Georgia law, once you have a judgment, you can enforce it against the insurance company if the insured doesn't pay. And if the insurer refuses or unreasonably delays, they can face bad faith penalties and attorney fees. Since insurance coverage is more than 4 times my judgment, Kinsale has the obligation to pay the full now, or it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of them doing what they're legally required to do, and that's pay the judgment. Now, I have been to Revolt when it first started. The first time I went to Revolt Summit, I went to Revolt Summit with Killer Mike, and he was actually on one of the panels with Tip and Candace Owens. It goes viral a lot that you see. That was the first time that I went to Revolt Summit, and that was their first Revolt Summit that Diddy put together. Then I went the year after that as well. And then I went the final year that I went, October of 2022, is when I got assaulted. I went for my brand. Before I took it to court, I reached out to God is Dope. They own the venue where Revolt Summit was held. I reached out to Diddy. I reached out to Revolt Media to try to see if we could work this out without going into courts, and basically just wanted to work with Revolt because I was building my brand, and I was just saying, instead of it getting too far or, going somewhere it doesn't need to go, let's find a solution. And I reached out to Revolt, I reached out to God is Dope, and I reached out to Diddy, and they ignored me. Revolt, Mr. Samuels, Atavius Samuels, he still is the CEO of Revolt. He had someone reach out to me and basically just wanted to say that we're not liable for what happened. And that was basically it. So what I did was end up suing them. The same situation with Delta Airlines in Georgia. I always try to go to these people first for a solution. Same situation that I'm doing with the city. They let it get out of control because it's one of them things like, we're gonna call your bluff. So it's like, okay. But at the end of the day, the law is the law, the facts are the facts, evidence is evidence. And I was taught from my family to keep every paper, now learning how to film everything, and that's what I did. The whole Revolt Summit is filmed. You understand? I had my camera on my phone. You could hear them being rude. You could hear them being mean. You could hear them not trying to give their names. The way that they dragged me out was crazy. And no one was sitting in these seats. No one was sitting in these seats. This AT&T rep who kept bothering me was saying that she was holding these seats. It was like 15 seats. At the end of the day, no one came and showed up to them seats. And how I know that is because they let me go back in there, right? Because they thought that was going to, just make it go away and stuff like that. And I sat and watched no one sit in them seats. So all of this. But my thing is, Revolt can act like they don't want to, like they're not liable, but they are. At the end of the day, this happened at y'all event, and I need it to be solved. I need my money to hit my account as fast as it hit Cassie's account when Cassie said she was going to take it to the courts. I took it to the courts. I got a judgment. I have people that I owe. I also would like to get my own place. I have more than enough money in that judgment to pay people that I owe and to make sure that I have a stable place to live while I'm fighting the city so they can also settle the case that we have all of the evidence, and to do right by my family, and also bad faith insurance. So that's all I'm asking. My lawyer sent my personal attorney sent a demand letter to Kinsale insurance company. They received it yesterday. So y'all have 3 weeks to figure it out, or I'm going to take y'all to court for bad faith insurance on top of you guys not paying this and whatever my attorney is going to charge me. All hands on deck. Oh, also, I really don't want to open up this case back open, reopen this case with a motion Rule 60, Diddy, Revolt, all of y'all, but I will if y'all don't make sure that this insurance company pays out this judgment for the security firm and company that y'all picked to be security for the Revolt Summit.